Hi guys, this is editorial analysis for 7th March 2017. So let's go to the first one. This is from the Hindu newspaper. It talks about why is the tax base so small in India, and the author has given out a few reasons. Firstly, the article says that only 3% of people pay any kind of income tax in India. Secondly, India's per capita GDP is rupees 1 lakh per annum. That is, a large number of people earn less than rupees 1 lakh per annum, and a very small number of people at the top earn a huge amount. That's why the average comes around to rupees 1 lakh. The income tax exemption threshold is rupees 2.5 lakh rupees, but majority of Indians earn less than 1 lakh rupees. So forget about reaching that threshold of 2.5 lakh. People anyways legally don't pay taxes because the threshold for exemption is 2.5 lakhs. Thirdly, the average income of the richest 20% of Indians is 95,000 rupees. That is, the richest also don't qualify to pay income tax because the threshold is 2.5 lakh rupees for income tax exemptions, and the richest 20% of Indians, even their average doesn't add up to 1 lakh per annum. It just goes on to show that we are a terribly poor country with a very high income tax exemption threshold. Lastly, the author says that the Prime Minister said that only 24 lakh Indians reported an income greater than rupees 10 lakh. But even in the United States, only 12.5 lakh people reported income that was greater than 10 times the national average. In UK, 2 lakh people did so. So 24 lakh is not that small a number to report that their average income is 10 times the national average income. So the basic reason why our tax base is small is because we are a terribly poor country. So we shouldn't always say that there are people who are dishonest and they're trying to evade taxes. Of course, that is there too, but this is one of the more nuanced reasons. Let's move on to the next editorial. This is from the Hindu as well. It just points out two additional points in addition to various other editorials we have done on Indo-China relationship. So the first point here is that China has issued a statement that allowing Dalai Lama's visit to Tawang in April could severely damage the bilateral ties of the two countries. The second point is that the US ambassador's visit to Tawang recently and visiting delegations from Taiwan to India is something that China is raising its brows at. So these couple of issues have added on to the pile that is already there. Let's move on to the next editorial. This is actually there in all the newspapers, so I'm just doing the crux of it. It basically says that linking the midday meal to Aadhaar is wrong because it may be counterproductive. The Supreme Court has repeatedly said that Aadhaar is not compulsory for availing government social services, even though the move is meant for with good intentions, that is to prevent leakages in subsidies. So this is one of the examples where a move by the government with good intentions ends up with counterproductive results. So this is one example that you could use in ethics paper, because this was a question in one of the mails that I was writing, and then I could not think of any example. Let's move on to the next editorial. This is from the Economic Times. It says that we need a thriving municipal bond market in India, and we need it quickly, like right now. Because the author goes on to give a reason that Brihan Mumbai Corporation, which is the richest municipal in India, It earned 33% of its revenue last year from octroi taxes. Now, after the implementation of GST, the octroi taxes will be discontinued. So, one has to look for revenue from other sources. The article says that South Africa earned $1.8 billion per annum, and the United States of America earned $300 billion per annum from these bonds. India has not exposed itself to these municipal bonds yet. They will be helpful in financing urban transport, public housing, solid waste disposal, etc. So the author suggests a way ahead here. What are the things that we can do? We can give tax breaks to people who buy these bonds. There should be a revision of the 8% ceiling interest on these bonds. There should be a secondary market for these bonds. There should be sound safeguard mechanisms, including escrow provision for the bondholders. These are some of the measures that can be considered if we have to have a thriving municipal bond market in India. And that's it for the editorials of 7th March 2017. Thank you.